name is Emily Thomas, and I'm a school counselor at West Harrison High School in Gulfport, Mississippi. I'm approaching my 10th year here at West Harrison. I spent 6 years in the classroom as an English teacher, and this will be my 4th year as the school counselor. Jamie Lord and myself, we just created a culture here where FAFSA is not an option, it's a must in the college process. So we would go into classrooms almost weekly and just stress the importance in early September prior to that October 1 FAFSA opening. And we just stress to the kids, regardless of how much money your parents make, regardless of how fabulous their job may or may not be, everybody can potentially qualify for money. And you're not going to know how much or how little you qualify for unless you complete the FAFSA process. So once we ingrained it in their little brains that they had to do it and that they could potentially qualify for money, regardless of their parents' experiences, the kids started coming to us on a regular basis and said, like, I need to schedule my FAFSA appointment. Can you help me? Can you help my parents? I don't have parents. Can you do it for me? And we just always had the mentality, it didn't matter what day of the week it was. If a kid came in our counseling office and needed help with FAFSA, we stopped what we were doing and we helped them. Our principals, they realize that, because I talk about FAFSA constantly here, that a lot of our kids, if they don't find some sort of financial assistance, whether it be a grant, a loan, or a scholarship, if they can't find help to pay for college, then college isn't going to be an option. So since the FAFSA can provide an opportunity for kids that they otherwise may completely miss out on, just that fact alone, our principals are just like, you do what you can to help these kids get to college, period. And our kids see it that way too. Like, I have to pay for college myself, Miss Thomas. What can I do? And I'm like, well, step one, we fill out the FAFSA and we see what if any money you qualify for. And fortunately for a lot of our kids, they do qualify for something, whether it's MTAG, Eminent Scholars, a loan that they've never heard of. They find the help through FAFSA and through MAP that makes college a reality more than just a dream or something my parents want me to do, but I can't because of the financial burden that it can be for so many. But I think luckily we have that culture here that FAFSA opens doors for kids that in the counseling center, you have to educate the kids, the parents, and you really have to work as a team to help the kids and the parents get it accomplished. Because you guys know you can't get to college, can't be everywhere every day, and can't do FAFSAs for every student in Mississippi. So I think it's so important that counseling offices, whether you have 2, 3, 4, however many counselors you have to all work together in FAFSA World. You can't just have one counselor that's the FAFSA guru, because it's just impossible for one person to take on that task. Now, I know we've talked briefly about CCR taking on some sort of new role, and our CCR teacher is getting FAFSA certified this summer. So my hope is that we're going to move in a direction where when he's got mostly seniors in his CCR classes, he hosts in-class FAFSA days, and we can knock out 20 FAFSAs in, an hour and a half. So I think if every school involves their CCR teacher, it will make FAFSA World for the counselors so much easier. And then you'll see, hopefully our 74% will be 94% in future years, because we'll have another hand in the help. I think it's so important that you build a team on campus and in the state. So build a team on your campus, get to college. Brandon at Mississippi financial aid is fabulous. I think he's always excited when summer hits and FAFSA is over, so I stopped bothering him, but he never ever complains, which is wonderful. That MAP portal for counselors, I don't, I know prior to stepping into my role, it, it wasn't used. I don't even think some counselors know it exists, what it's for, how to use it. If you check that every Friday before you leave for the weekend and you just update who's completed FAFSA and who's completed the Mississippi app, it makes your life so much easier because you don't have to constantly say to kids, have you done it? Have you done this? Because you know on your end, yes, they've done this. Yes, they're missing this piece of information. So it's just a tool to help you seek out students and parents who maybe haven't done it because they need your help. And also just don't be afraid of the FAFSA. I think a lot of counselors, teachers, whomever, they're afraid of financial aid paperwork of any kind. And they don't want to ask a parent or a student uncomfortable questions about money, which we get it. But when you explain to a kid and to a parent, like, "Look, these are just questions that we've got to answer to get us to what we qualify for," it's simple. You know, you don't have to know every single thing about a family's financial situation. You just have to know enough to help them fill out this document. Um, so the more the counselor knows about how to explain the importance of the FAFSA, why we do it, regardless of income, I think it's just impossible to not talk about FAFSA constantly after that October 1 date gets here. And I think counselors and everybody involved in FAFSA World also have to understand some kids, they're not going to do it. No matter what you do, no matter what you tell them, they say, I'm never going to college. I'm going straight to the military. My parents know, and that's okay too. But there's going to be so many more students who potentially will end up in college that you can't give up just because a kid the first time tells you, hey, Miss Thomas, I'm not going to do that, doesn't mean you can't have another conversation, come January, just to make sure their plans haven't changed, because they could and they will. So I think you've got to create FAFSA World in your schools from October to March. The kid who tells you no in October may tell you, yes, let's do it March 10th. And you have to be prepared for that. If you have weekly FAFSA days in your counseling office, in your senior classes, CCR, maybe even an English 4 class, you've got endless possibilities. The more you're willing and able to do, and I realize Counselor World, we do a lot more than just FAFSA. But you want your kids to know, all of your students and parents to know, you have questions, you need help, I'm here to do it. And it's not about when it's convenient for me. It's about, when a parent can come on their lunch break. Absolutely. I will stop what I'm doing and we'll get that FAFSA done, because we're talking an hour max to complete this process. So just everybody be willing to help any day of the week, Monday through Friday. I don't expect you to do it on the weekends for folks, but just say yes. Do you need help? Yes, I will help you.